All right. As always, Muscle Talk. I'm your host, John Livia. We got Phil, the Jamaica Tag Clay Har, Dorian Haywood, and today we got a special guest, Trevor Birch, 2023 National Overall Champ, who gained 50 pounds since the show.
Well, it looks like it. Yeah.
How much did you gain since the show?
40 pounds up right now as of today.
Wow. And so let's just give us a little background. How old are you, bro?
28.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And how many shows did you do before you were able to turn pro?
So I've been competing since 2012. So I did my first show at 16 years old. And then I've done like 10, 11 shows. And then this was my second national show. So I did the USAs in 2021. I placed 14th in the light heavyweight class, and then took 2 years off. I got with Cameron Cheek, my coach currently. And then we just dialed it in for this one. So I've been working with them straight through since, and we actually put in the work for it. So
very cool, man. So what are you planning to do your pro debut?
Like, we're not in a rush. Like we're playing the long game. So probably the end of 2025, we're guessing. Take this whole year off and like fill out into the 212 class. I'll be in. As a light heavyweight for that one, and put on at least 10 pounds steady. And just I'm not in a rush to. Like, I'm young-ish for the sport, but I like to lift with a sense of urgency, but we do have some time.
It looks like a lot of young guys are kind of turning pro, doing 212 or classic, and then kind of just using that as a stepping stool to get to the open, unless you're monsters like Phil or Dorian.
That's great to do it. Yeah, we'll see. So 212 to start, and then opens not out of the question, but we got to start somewhere. So got to grow.
Phil, sorry, Dorian, did you do a hit of acid before you got dressed this morning? That shirt is really psychedelic, brother.
Never tried that.
No, yeah. Speaking of which, what'd you say?
No, I love the thing. This is my number one most complimented piece of apparel.
I could see that. Yeah, absolutely.
I can tell.
It's all the colors of the rainbow. And if we didn't know better, we'd think you're fighting for the pink team.
You look super lean, Dorian. Are you in anything? Are you prepping for anything? Or
I started prepping 6 days ago.
6 days, I can already tell.
Burning fat, dropping weight like crazy, and it's looking good, coming right along.
Awesome. You can tell on your face.
Yeah,
face is already in. Like,
he's doing the New York Pro. He's going to be the dark horse. So that's for sure.
Oh damn, yeah.
Because everybody's talking about Nick and Antonio, so that just leaves Dorian with a lot of stress relief.
That's what I was going to say. The underdog doesn't have stress. Just come in and
that's it.
Work.
Mm-hmm. That's the plan, man.
Are you doing much cardio, or are you just dieting and you're able weights coming off?
Honestly, I haven't done any real cardio yet. I've just been keeping my calories really low, and everything's just happening. I find out when I do too much cardio, my legs start to thin out a little bit.
Yeah.
Same.
Exact same. Yeah. We cut cardio 6 weeks out for me personally. Dropped it down, and
Does the weight comes off that quick for you?
Just the fullness comes off real quick.
What about you, Phil? You got to do a lot of cardio when you're prepping, or no?
I don't know what we're doing right now. I'm already the whole off season. I've been doing an hour.
Really?
Yeah, 30 minutes fasted, and then 30 minutes after I work out.
Nice. All right, cool. Yeah, because you look actually relatively lean.
That's the sign to keep me from doing almost 2 hours of cardio. So I'd rather do it in the off season, so I don't have to kill myself during the season.
Yeah. Plus, you kind of something else that you're used to, right? It's not something you have to incorporate.
Right.
That's I try to do a half-hour cardio after I train, but I'm not a champion bodybuilder like you three bastards. To compensate for that, look what I bought myself. Want to see what I bought myself? Check it out. Ready? I'm a bit of a sneakerhead. Oh shit!
Yeah,
it's fucking dope. And I got to bring. Are you? And I got to bring my bike in to be serviced. This spring, the spring, I gotta make sure I gotta get those hoes up off me because I'm married now. I can't be fucking around, you know.
What do you have? You have a motorcycle or what?
Yeah, but 2015 Harley Davidson Breakout, but I customized the whole thing. You can't even tell it's a Breakout.
Yeah,
Doesn't
you're a Harley guy. You're gonna customize it.
I changed the whole. I'm not really a Harley guy. I just felt like I was too old to get a Japanese bike, but now I'm like, I want one, so I might get one. I might get another one this year, or maybe next year. We'll see. But right now, just concentrating on my bike. Anyway, the Arnold UK is coming up, and it doesn't look like it's turning out to be so great. They don't know if Hottie's still a question mark. Apparently, he's not in the UK yet. So it turns out to be
What, 6 guys, 7 guys?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
very
it's
heavy.
mostly
It's, let me see. So as of right now, it's Samson, De La Rosa, Akeem, James Hollingshead, Antoine, and was that Moshaban? Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And that's about it. And Hadi Chupin is a coin toss. We don't know. So if Hadi doesn't show up, it's going to be 6 guys. If he shows up, it's going to be 7 guys. So I heard that James Hollingshead got rid of Milos as a trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys hear the same thing?
Yeah.
Why? He looked
with JP, kind of like back and forth with JP now.
But he looked fantastic at the Arnold. Why would you drop him? I don't get it.
Oh, he said he left. He said he left him before the Arnold. That's what he's claiming. He's claiming that he finished off his prep for the Arnold on his own. That's what he's saying.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. I wonder why. Well, I wonder what it is. But I understand Samson, right? Like he was pissed off he didn't win and he didn't come in the shape that he wanted to, right? I get it. But Hollingshead looked phenomenal. So when somebody told me that, I was like, why would he get rid of him? He looked the best he ever looked in his life. You know, he would have any other show he would have won besides the Olympia and the Arnold, right? You put him in the New York Pro. What'd you say, Dorian?
Maybe Samson got to talking with James.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. Plus,
you gotta look at it too, John. You know, I mean, I don't know who I was talking to about this issue. Oh, it was Blue. I was talking to Blue, and I said, you know what? You can't sit. And I saw that Milos did a thing with Dennis because him and Dennis and Chris Cormier, they do their podcast together. And I think Kamali was on that. And it comes down to this because they asked Milos. They was like, why didn't he come in? Why didn't he come in shape or whatever the case may be? Like I told Patty, you can't blame coaches, man. You know what I mean? He's been with Milos for two years and some, right? And everybody knows what Samson needed to do. Mm-hmm. Samson knew what he needed to do. Milos basically said, and I just got to trust his word because he said it. They said, what does he need to get peeled? He said he needs to suffer. He needs to really suffer, and he needs to start doing some more cardio. Now, me reading into the situation is this. Is Samson willing to suffer?
Right.
You can't blame the coach. When you've been with him for 2 years, and look how far he's gotten you in your career. You're third in the world, right? So all we got to do is get conditioned. That's, to me, I mean, he has everything. So to blame Milos, it could be something else we don't know about. Could be the cause, but we don't know what went wrong when they were at the Arnold, per se. Yeah. But I can't sit here and fully blame. Remember, we're all adults too. We have coaches. We know what we're willing to do and what we're not willing to do. So suffering is the key. Probably he just doesn't want to take himself to that place. You know what I mean? And Milos said basically he don't want to be like anybody else. He wants to be himself. So I don't know. I think it's a mixture of both.
Right. What do you think, Trevor?
I think it comes down to like you're the best in the world. You have to act like the best. So I know he was using like cup measurements for like his rice and potatoes and everything. Like when you're that high of a level, you got to go to grams. Like you got to weigh everything out. Like you can't just scoop your almond butter onto your plate. Like you got to be so dialed in. And then same thing, like Phil said, like how hard is he pushing? Like, is he pushing his cardio? Like, or is he just like slowly walking, like stuff like that? Like just that next level to get him to that next level. So
yeah,
the little details.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. It seems to be that, I had this question on Anabolic Academy and I said, look, bodybuilding is what have you done for me lately? People forget about the last 2 years that Milos and Samson got together and they brought each other from, second tier, third tier bodybuilder to number 3 in the world. And he comes in second to an amazing Hadi Chupin, and everybody's ready to shit on Milos, right? And it's like, get the guy some slack, man. He knows what he's doing. It's not he can't win every show. With Samson, I get it because he was been in the zones for 2 years, right? Came in third in the Olympia, won the Arnold last year, won Romania, won Prague, and now he really wanted to win this one. Because if he won this one, that would have been like, man, I can win the Olympia, right? If he would be able to beat Hadi. And it didn't happen. He was disappointed with the shape he came in. So, I mean, look, that's what happens. It's by Milos. But let's not forget, Milos is still one of the best in the game. Let's
Yeah, for sure.
And Dorian, let me ask you this. Me and Trevor, again, were talking before we started recording, but his wife dialed him in for Romania and Prague. He won those 2 shows. Both of those shows, he looked better at the Olympia. Now his wife is going to be dialing him for the Arnold UK. Why does he need to get another coach? If your wife is doing that good of a show and you know what you got to do, if your wife is doing that good of a job, rather, and you know what you have to do, I don't get it. What I mean, just you know what you got to do, and your wife is helping you prep, and it's working. Fuck it.
Well, you got to take this into consideration.
What's that?
Nobody has a better eye on him than his wife.
Right.
And as far as I know, she's the only person that he's coaching. She's the only person that Samson's working with.
Right.
Milos, he's got a lot of guys he's working with, he's busy.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the aspect of communication was off between Milos and Samson, because I think that's where most coaching goes wrong. At the end of the day, is the athlete's, call to be like, hey, coach, I think this is fucked up. Let's talk about it. Let's take a different approach. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but I just think the fact that his wife is so close to him and knows what works for him, that's why it's a smarter decision for him.
Yeah, but everybody's talking, who's going to be his next coach? I mean, if it's not broken, don't fix it. If your wife made you look better than you did at the Olympia and you won 2 shows, I don't know why not keep her. Why? But for argument's sake, again, I had this question. Everybody's asking who would you pick? Who would you think he's going to go with? So on and so forth. Who do you guys think he's going to go with? Or who do you guys think would be a better fit for him rather than who do you think he's going to go with? Put it that way.
Who was Ian's coach before Ian went to Matt?
Patrick, sure.
I think that's better for him because he lives. I think he's in the UK.
Yep.
All right.
That might be that to me. I was actually talking that with Patty and Blue. That will be a smarter route. My personal opinion, but
see,
he's not getting Hadi. He's not getting Hadi because Hadi's not taking on no more elite open competitors. He already has his hands full.
Yeah, right. Good point. Yeah, right. I said Matt Jensen right off the bat because the way he brings in Brett, Nick, Clarita, I'm like, this guy obviously knows what he's doing. He brings in these guys dialed in. I mean, full, hard, grainy, shredded. And that seemed, but then again, you're right. Might be right. It's probably easy if he gets a guy from the UK. I don't know. What do you think, Dorian? Who do you think he's going to go with?
I think he's just stick with his wife.
I think that'd be the best move, right? I mean, it's working.
Yeah,
it works. Here's the issue with that. I mean, yeah, it'll work to get him in somewhat in shape for this show coming up, but we're talking the elite of the elite, man. And yeah, your wife is a regular. I mean, I could say that for Patty too, but I mean, she's my wife. She has the eye to see if I'm not full enough, and she's really good when it comes to that stuff. But you still need, you're a professional. You still need an elite coach.
Right.
You just have to have one.
I'm kind of with you too, Phil. I don't know if she's able to separate like that last little bit of emotions towards the end of prep, like to make him suffer that little bit more.
That's a good point.
Like, is she able to separate? Like we might be, So it's just hard to separate when you're with your significant other.
That's a good point because as a woman, you see your husband suffering and you immediately want to comfort him, right? That's actually a good point. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, listen, he's gonna do well at the Arnold UK. I mean, that goes without saying. And then from that, he's supposed to be taking some time off and he's going to make a decision on who he's going to go with. I mean, listen, any trainer is going to jump at the opportunity to work with him, right? But besides Samson, we got the big talk is going to be, besides the Samson thing, is going to be between Akeem and De La Rosa.
Yeah.
Because do you think Akeem is going to be able to bring the same conditioning? Because he doesn't seem to be very consistent. But what do you think? It is only 2 weeks.
I think he's going to be better. I think he's dialing in.
I hope so too.
He could be first, second, third, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And there. I think he's really going to have a battle with James Hollingshead.
That would be a good showdown. If he comes in like he did and then at the night show at Arnold, yeah, that would be a battle. That because they have like that, they both have kind of like similar physiques where they're big, loads of muscle, hard, you know, if they come in, if Akeem comes in shape. What do you think, Phil?
Well, I mean, Tyler nailed it on the head. I mean, Tyler's going to be judging the show, and Tyler said if he would have came in the way he came in at night, he would definitely edged out. He would have edged out. He would probably even Rafael, honestly, but he most likely was going to edge out De La Rosa.
Yeah.
So we got Rafael not being in it. If he comes in on point, yeah, De La Rosa beat him in the back shot. De La Rosa is very muscular, but Hakeem, man, the way he looked at a night show with that much freaking muscle, if he comes in even a little tighter than what he looked like at that night show, it's going to be him and Samson battling. That's what I'm going to see.
He was the guest poser at the last show I did, right, Trevor? The last time I competed was 2014, and he was the guest poser. And I don't have the picture anymore. I don't know what I did with it, but I took a picture of him backstage, and he was well over 300 pounds at that point, and he just looks like a building. Mm-hmm. You stand behind him, and you can't see anything in front of him. He's a massive, massive human being. And because I have somewhat of a relationship with him, I just know him because, you know, we're both in Jersey. You know, I always root for him. You know, I don't want to see him, you know, not come in his best shape. I just always root for him because, you know, when you have a relationship, with same thing with De La Rosa. You know, I always root for De La Rosa. And same thing with Samson. Samson's always on my show. But sometimes, you know, you got to call a circle, man. Speaking of which, where do you guys think Justin Rodriguez is going to go from here? Because he just doesn't seem like he can fucking hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I think he's on his way out. Like we've seen, like he's been in the grind since when he turned pro, like early 2000s, like 2010.
I don't know.
2016.
Really?
I was like the show. Oh,
he turned pro. It looks like he's been in the grind a long time. Like you can tell when the guys are kind of on their way out. Like their arms start to lose fullness, their legs start to lose a little bit of fullness, and their stomachs grow a little bit. And I think that's where he's at. From my perspective. So
what do you think, Phil?
Man, you know me, man. I like the guys. I mean, I've competed against him. I've talked to him off and on through social media. He's a great dude, but yeah, I thought he did look much better. They said for the Arnold, he did look much better, but I don't know, man. I don't even think he's going to shut it down. He made a comment, bigger and better things coming, he said on his Instagram. I don't know what that means, but he needs a break. I just think he needs, you know, to take off a full year, probably a year and a half. I think more so his body just needs a good break. And, you know, if he can, because if he does another show and not do well, it's pretty much a wrap.
Yeah, people are going to start writing them off. It's already, we're already kind of, you know. Oh, Dorian, before I forget, man, I know you
talking about Justin.
Yeah, I know, but before I forget, hold on, before
ever.
Say that again.
I've competed with Justin more than any competitor ever.
Okay.
I think we've gone ahead in 12 shows now.
Wow, really?
And, you know, what I see from him, he's just not bringing, he looks like he's always washed out in every show lately. He doesn't have fine detail that I've seen in him before. And I think Phil's right. The way he needs to get that back is reset his system, get healthy, and come back, and hopefully he can start pulling off that look again. But if he can't, he's in trouble. Yeah. I hope he can.
Oh, listen, me too. You know, I've heard nothing but good things about the guy. But again, Dorian, before I forget, I know you're prepping for the New York Pro. So if you can't, you know, if you you know you can't make the show or whatever, you know, don't worry about this. It's not a big deal. You know, I know the show comes first. It's just.
What did you say?
Go do some
Yeah,
cardio.
I said to him,
Look, she's bringing my food late. Look, I'm so big you can't even see her. She's behind
I
my
was
back.
about to say that. I was like, wow, where do we get a wife like? Actually, my wife is actually pretty similar. Trevor, Trevor's.
Hi.
Hey, Patty. Trevor's getting married. Does your girl do that for you, Trevor?
Yeah, we're married, but I cook all the food. I do it all. Yeah, even
Really?
when I'm on prep, I cook the food and
Let's see, whipped.
cook her, I prep her meals. Yeah.
Oh my God! Here we go.
Yeah, he's whipped. He's doing both meals. He's whipped.
Yeah, the thing is, you can like, if you personal train your girl, you can sculpt her the way you want her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we're gonna go with.
There you
Really?
go. There you go. Yeah.
That was the same thing. That was the same thing I
Gluten-free
said when I
food.
paid. That's what I said to my wife when I paid for her tits.
There you go.
You can sculpt it the way you want her. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Trevor, you like this shirt?
Yeah.
You like the sleeveless one?
I usually do sleeves. I usually do oversized stuff.
Okay,
I
I'll see if
up and out. Yeah.
All right, I'll see. I'll get you a
He likes
3X
the pump
regular
cover.
T-shirt.
He wants the pump cover. Cover the pump.
All right.
Yeah.
And then I'll get your wife a medium T-shirt too. All right, cool. Where the hell were we? I don't remember.
Dorian was saying Rodriguez needs a reset and all that good stuff.
Gotcha. Right. Okay. There's a few guys. All right, let's see who else is in this show. Antoine. Do you think Antoine is going to make significant improvements? Because I thought he was going to come in better at the Arnold. Do you think he's going to make significant improvements at the UK?
Yeah, I think so.
It looked like
he will, but I feel like with this competition, like everyone's going to get better. Like Akeem's going to get better. Yeah, we have guys moving up as it is.
Yeah,
I don't know if he can close that gap because he's already shredded. And he's already.
I have a feeling that this is going to be anytime. Like it always seems like when you have like a show a week or 2 weeks after the Arnold, the guys always come in a little harder and crisper in the show right after that. I guess maybe because they're on track or they're on a roll or whatever the case may be. So I feel like this is going to be, the guys are going to be overall, the majority of guys are going to be better than they were at the Arnold UK as opposed to the Arnold. I mean, especially Samson. I have to believe he's going to come in better. I don't think if Hottie shows up, I don't think there's any way he can come in better. I think it's impossible to come in better. I mean, he was mind blowing. But I think all these guys. I think Akeem is going to come in better. I think De La Rosa is going to come in better. I'm hoping Antoine will. Mo Shaban, I don't know, man. He just has this odd structure to him where you don't see a lot of muscle separation. You know, I think he reminds me of a Jose Raymond, but a worse version, because Jose Raymond didn't have a lot of muscle separation until he really, really dialed it in, right? But I don't know what he has to do. I don't know if working with Psycho Lewis helped or not helped, but I just think genetically he's lacking compared to these other guys. You know, what do you guys think?
I know Mo real well. We've trained together several times.
Okay.
Does a lot of work with Charles Glass, and I think he does good work there. But he used to bring an element, kind of more wow factor with that massiveness. And I think he tried to do something different with his strategy, and it downsizes his physique. And he doesn't have the best aesthetics in the first place. And I think where he went is maybe not in the right direction. He just doesn't have a lot of wow factor. He doesn't have that size he used to.
Right.
So it's a different looking Mo. I wish him the best. We'll see how it pans out for him.
Yeah.
From what I understand, Mo really downsized this past year. Like he looked like a normal person. Like at expos, like people I talked to, they said he was like in a t-shirt and it didn't even look like him. And then within like 6 months, he had to rebuild his physique, and then he did the Arnold.
He
So
did the
like
Kevin.
really,
He did the
yeah,
Kevin Levrone thing.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but only Kevin Levrone could pull that off.
yeah.
Where you train 8 weeks out of the Olympia and you break the top 5. That was a special dude. Unless maybe you never know. Maybe he had some blood work done and he had to come off everything. You don't know what happens behind closed doors, especially with the guys that the spotlight isn't on all the time, right? Like when the spotlight is on Samson or Nick, or Hottie, everybody wants answers. When you're like a second tier, third tier guy, you don't know what really happens. Nobody's really digging. They don't have to really say, or people don't speculate and so on and so forth. But Phil, I want to ask you this because you've been in the game a long time. The guy like Mo, right? Obviously, everybody wants to believe that they are good enough to compete with the best. How do you psychologically adjust to the point where it's like, all right, I'm obviously doing everything I possibly can, but I'm only breaking the top 5 or the top 3 in the New York Pro or Chicago Pro, and how do you deal with the fact that you have to realize that you are not elite, that you are basically maybe second tier?
Well, I wouldn't call Mo a second tier bodybuilder.
Okay.
I think last year he was much better. His
Mm.
conditioning was ridiculous last year. His size was ridiculous. Now, granted, yeah, we don't know why he decided. I think he was trying to, because his legs were so big, he was trying to downsize his legs. I don't know honestly what he was trying to do, but you have to stick to what works for you. Yeah, I respect when you ask the judges what you need to improve and what you need to get better, right? But at the end of the day, stick to who you truly are. I think success comes that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I played that game, after 2021, battling Ian and Steve Kuklos. I was smaller. I was much more smaller guy. I was coming in about 243, 245 with razor conditioning. And I decided to do that because at the time, the coach I had, he was like, this is the only chance you have to make the first call out. We have to come in peel.
Mm-hmm.
We did that. But when I did that, now the judge was saying, oh, well, the reason why you basically got beat, you got out muscled. And I'm saying to myself, how the hell I got out muscled, man? I'm 6 foot tall. Even at 243 pounds, I looked like I was 260, 270 on stage, even at that weight.
Right.
The leaner you get, the more peel you get. It gives the illusion of size.
Mm-hmm.
So now, honestly, I will take and respect what I'm told. Half the time I don't ask. Honestly, Patty's been asking for the past 2 years. I don't ask anymore. I just basically need to stay true to myself. If I try to play the size game, which I did when I was with George Farrell, it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And then Steve Weinberger told George, he said, Phil don't need to get any bigger. Size is not what Phil needs to be doing. He needs to come in like he came in 2021, and he needs to be in condition, not size. You don't need more than that. So I think if as a bodybuilder, regardless of what tier you believe you are, because at any given day, anybody can step up from somebody that's, in the bottom of the first call outs and in the middle of the second or the first of the second call out could just wow the judges.
Right.
I said, stick to what works for you. If you don't got the God-given structure, not everybody is genetically blessed with the structure. Now, your job now is to come in conditioned and make sure you adjust your posing as such to compensate for the structure you don't have, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
And you'll be that elite bodybuilder regardless.
Well, what I was trying to get at, and Dorian, you piggyback off what Phil said. What I was trying to get at is like, let's take the extreme, right? Kai Green could never beat Phil in the Olympia. And there had to come a point where Kai had to come to terms with that. Right. And it's got to be extremely difficult. I'm sure Flex Wheeler had to go through that with Ronnie and so on and so forth. Right. Gaspari with Lee Haney, you go down the line. How does somebody come to terms with that when you're that close? Or in a more, with Mo, it's like, okay, I'm doing everything I can. Maybe this is the best I could be. But go ahead.
That's the key right there. Sometimes it's hard to focus on other people, and that probably shouldn't be a lot of people's focus when it comes to making them their best self, because you really are competing against yourself. And as long as you can be the best you can be, that's the way. Here's the thing. If you go into a prep and you lose to some dude and you didn't do 10 cardio sessions and you had 5 cheat meals when you shouldn't have, you left the door open for yourself for failure. But if you've done everything that you can do to be the best version of yourself, there's nothing else you can do. So, that's up to the judges. And just as long as you're being the best version of yourself psychologically, that you can deal with it if you know you didn't leave the door open. But if you've been off and, you're not your best self and it's your own fault, now that's where it will really mess with you. So just don't take the opportunity for failure like that.
And so basically you're saying if you did everything 110%, and this is the best you could possibly do, be satisfied with that, because this is the best you're ever going to be and the best you're ever going to look. Yeah, that probably does work for most guys. But could you imagine, Trevor, being Kai Green and then you just fucking can't? You're like, if somebody would murder this guy, I'd be the best in the world right now.
They were both the best.
Well, all right, that's very politically correct to say.
No, you know what? Honestly, there was 1 year, I can't remember 1 year, Kai Green really did beat Phil. He really did.
I know he beat him at the Arnold.
No, I'm saying at the one of the Olympias. I can't remember the year. But here's the thing that people got to understand. Kai, I love the guy, but he gets involved with some extracurricular activities that I think was one of the big reasons why.
I agree.
I'm going to be honest. Listen, if you want to be Mr. Olympia, right, you have to represent. You're representing the IFBB. You're Mr. Olympia, right? Just like Derek. I mean, he couldn't ask for a much more perfect Mr. Olympia, right?
Right.
So you got to be very careful on the things that you choose to do outside of bodybuilding.
Yes.
It can come back and haunt you. Now, talking about Ronnie Coleman, come on. Listen, Ronnie Coleman you'll never see another man.
You're right. Yeah.
So we can't really compare that, but Jay screwed up, and he even said it when he started chasing Ronnie Coleman's size. It goes back to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Stay true to yourself. Back door for what Dorian says, do everything you can do on your part. Everything will fall into place. If it doesn't, at least you know you did the best you can possibly do. But if you start saying, well, I got to chase, they're looking for the size, so let me start chasing the size, now your waist is getting bigger. And now you're sacrificing other things that you definitely had before, and now you're chasing something, and then your whole physique is all screwed up. So best thing you can do, man, stay true to yourself. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. That don't mean you stop doing it. You still be the best, the second to the third best in the world. If I was that, I'm happy with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree. And you could make the same argument about Victor when he came in second to Jay, because he was arrested on drug charges when he was arrested for steroids and whatnot. So you can make that same argument. Now, Trevor is a very young man, and he might not know what Kai Green did outside of body. Oh, son of a bitch. Well, does anybody have the balls besides me to explain it?
There's no way he can't know. It's all
I know. Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm saying. I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
I've been in the sport since I was 16, like I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for people who don't know, apparently Kai Green has this tremendous fetish when he walks through the produce aisle in ShopRite. So before Kai Green was a professional bodybuilder making a lot of money, he would do basically, I think it was like a webcamming thing, right?
Yeah.
I think it was the early days of webcamming, and it was basically gay for pay. And he got paid to have sex with a piece of fruit. Was it a grapefruit or a cantaloupe or
Grapefruit?
It was a grapefruit. Everybody even knows the exact.
You know the story. We all know.
Did you imagine like going to dinner with him and he orders like grapefruit with sour cream?
Oh my God. That's the thing too, is like you said, like he came second in the world, and you said he potentially beat Phil, and we're still human at the end of the day. Like all those judges have, even though if they say it's not biased towards Phil, they're so they what was I saying? Oh God, I lost my train of thought with that.
No, you're basically saying that
the
judges, it will pick Phil because he is the right. He's the best choice as far as a role model for being Mr. Olympia. And I think the same thing, because I truly believe Victor should have beat Jay that year. And I really believe they wouldn't give him that title because of the drug charge he had with the steroids. I really do, because
I have that in the back of their head, even when they're judging that panel.
Yeah, because up until only the last few years, Mr. Olympias have, after they've won, basically have gone country to country, city to city, and promoted the Olympia, right? In the last few years, we've kind of, it hasn't been as prevalent. Big Ramy wasn't up to the task, and Brandon got hit with COVID, and Sean Roden passed away, and then he had those allegations against him. I don't know if what they have Derek doing now. Obviously, Hadi had a problem because of his visa and whatnot. So, but before that, Phil was everywhere promoting the sport, and that was just a given at Mr. Olympia. So, I remember Phil was on it was in New York City. There was a sports 660 WFAM. It had sports radio, and he was on like the midday show with that guy. Oh God, I forgot the guy's name. The Carter. The guy he actually got arrested for like gambling or something like that. Gambling. I don't remember the whole thing, but I remember him being on that show and them talking to him, and that's what Mr. Olympia was gonna do. Now, picture Kai Green, or even worse, Victor Martinez doing that, and the first question is, weren't you arrested for steroid use? Right. It's public knowledge, public, you get arrested, it's public record. That's it. And so I do believe that is the case. Now, a guy like Ronnie, that was just a win-win. He was the best, the freakiest, world's greatest bodybuilder, and he was a cop, and he was college educated, and he was just a fantastic role model. Everybody loved him. And same thing with Jay Cutler. But at that time with Jay and Victor, I truly believe that was the case, especially when Joe Weider was alive. Especially when Joe Weider was like, you ain't making money, or forget it. That's just my opinion. That's just me. But because that time that Dorian went against NASA, I mean, NASA really should have won that time, but they kind of just gave it to Dorian. Dorian did not look good that last bodybuilding show. Was it 97? Was it 97? What do you guys think?
I agree with you. I think Dorian wasn't looking as good in that show, and it reminds me of the 1980 Olympia when Arnold came back.
That's right.
He's been the champ. That's who people want to see, the champ. So he's going to have that political end.
Yeah.
Same thing, Cutler and Martinez.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, like I said, when Weider was alive, if you didn't sell magazines and equipment and sell, cross country, I mean, globally, and Dorian gave him the access to sell globally because of the UK and Europe and so on and so forth. You got to remember, there was no Instagram back then. There was no internet back then. It was all magazines, workout shit, supplementation, and he would be able to sell. And you get a guy that, let's face it, NASA looked great, but he wasn't the most likable guy in the world, right? And they just go, nah, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna sacrifice, possible dollars coming in. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't think it's as political. I think because if you remember, like, Weider passed, and then the torch was kind of passed down. Like, if you didn't come in shape, you could lose the Olympia. Before Weider passed, he always had that dominant guy, like Dorian said, either Arnold or Lee Haney or Ronnie or Jay Cutler. It was always had that one dominant dude that was reigning supreme. I don't know. What do you think, Phil?
I don't know what to think, bro. I think back then, man, I really think back then. I mean, I really wish that guy was still here. I think bodybuilding would be a little bit going a different direction.
Think so?
Yeah, I don't think he was really. Right now, this is the mass monster. I can't figure out what year they want to be what, and what year they want to be that. It's complete. Now, we all know the Olympia. That's a strictly freaky muscle. I mean, you can have the best shape in the world. They're looking for. But these regional shows, man, sometimes it's even still difficult to figure out, But when I went to the seminar, it's crazy. Like you'll hear, Tim Gardner and some of the other elites were speaking, and they say sometimes they run into a little difficulty. If it's 7 judges, you may have 4 going one way, 3 going the other way. You know what I mean? And then they got to pretty much figure out how they're going to come together and do the scoring. But I think it would be a lot different because I'm looking at the bodybuilders from back then in the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. I hate to be that guy that goes back that way, but what I mean, I'm 49 years old, so I can't.
Yeah, right.
What I mean, you see a different style of bodybuilders, right? Now, yes, we got great superior bodybuilders, but the limits are being pushed a little bit too much for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I believe if Joe Weider was still here, I don't think he will fully agree with the limits that we're going now. That's just my belief because I just look at how those guys look back then.
Okay, it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I'm going to change a little bit, and I wanted to get into this. Iris Kyle came out this week and said that the open guys got a bump in pay, and now women should have a bump in pay too. Now I don't know if you guys watched my Anabolic Academy, but I had addressed this. It's my opinion. My opinion was like I am very supportive of women's sports and women's, especially I've interviewed plenty of women powerlifters, bodybuilders. I mean, you name it, arm wrestlers, and these champions and so on and so forth. I am a big supporter of women's sports, power sports, whatever the case may be. But if you're not putting asses in the seats, yeah, why should you get a bump in pay? How about this? This is just my attitude. Instead of bitching and moaning about it, why don't you do something about it? And what I said is, like, you see how all this little controversy happens with bodybuilding. Like now you got Nick and Antonio, or you had, you always have controversy with the guy. You had Kai Green and Phil, and who's going to beat who, and it was all smack talk and so on and so forth. When you watch women's sports or women's bodybuilding or whatever, they're all very nice to each other. So we just want to bring each other up, and everybody looks beautiful and everybody's wonderful. If you had like one of the girls, like who's Miss Olympia now? What's her name? I forgot. I had her on. Yeah. If Andrea Shaw said that the number 2 girl can't shine my shoes, she shouldn't be on stage with me, her breath smells, she's a bitch, and wait till I get her on stage because I'm going to show her who's boss, I guarantee you people will watch.
Yeah.
But they kind of don't have that. That's not their nature. The nature is to be compassionate and loving and bring everybody together, but that doesn't draw attention to the sport, right? That's why every fight there's a press conference, because you want to see the bad blood between the 2 guys. And that's why there's a press conference with the Open Olympia every year, because you want to see the shit talking. So that was my attitude. But what do you guys think?
I think if what you said there initially, it's all about being marketable. It's all about making money. I mean, I think male bodybuilding and classic physique, that's kind of like the event that people want to see. People want to see a physique. People want to see something they want to see the freaks, and to turn the table on Iris, there's other shows like the Wings of Strength, Rising Phoenix down there in Phoenix, the women only championships. That's for them, and they're paying a lot of money in that show.
That's right.
So, I think Arnold kind of stood his ground and kind of backlashed at Iris, and it's a business decision at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't the first time we hear this. We hear this with the WNBA. We hear this with women's soccer, and it's like, guys, if you're not, first of all, I think actually Bill Burr actually said it in one of his stand-ups. He said, women aren't watching the WNBA. Women are watching the Housewives. So all those girls are making a ton of money, and no girls are watching the WNBA. And when guys watch sports, they want to watch the guys. They're not going to watch the girls. So if that's where the draw is going, because my wife, I guarantee you, is downstairs watching Housewives of New Jersey, Housewives of Atlanta, Housewives of something, Beverly Hills. I guarantee it, right? And that's where the money's going to go. That's where the endorsement's going to go. That's where the job. That's where the opportunities are going to go. And if nobody's watching the WNBA, if nobody's watching women's soccer, if nobody's watching women's bodybuilding, you're not going to make the money. So my attitude is, create something that people want to see. And the easiest thing is controversy. That's the it might seem, politically incorrect or not ladylike, but I mean, look, good.
I think the categories for women that are in the Arnold are very appealing to the masses.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like,
you get a sexy shape out of the women who are competing in bikini and wellness. People want to see that. As you start moving into these more muscular divisions, that sex appeal goes away, and it's kind of about something else. It's more about the muscle, and it's more about the genetics.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, true bodybuilder aficionados can respect that.
Right.
Normal dude off the streets, what's he want to see? Does he want to see this big bodybuilding chick, or does he want to see a hot bikini chick?
Yeah.
It's simple.
No, I agree. And that's why I'm saying, I think with the women's bodybuilding, they need to actually do something. And I mean, I always go toward controversy, but it might be something else. I don't know. What do you think, Phil?
Well, what I think is, in the majority of the sports, women don't take this the wrong way. The majority of the sports, men are always making more money, just like you said it. NBA for men, football, soccer, any division that women are in, the men tends to make more money. And it's not because, I don't want to say we're not better than them. I mean, that's just where the direction goes. If bodybuilders start triggering up, I don't think that's going to make a difference. That's not going to help them make more money. I just think that, if the audience draws to a certain physique, that's the only way they're going to make money. Some people are just like Dorian said, I mean, it's the bikini, even the wellness, I think does better sometimes than some of the upper echelon. I got to be careful how I word this. I don't want none of these girls to come choke me out. Because some of them are big. But it's a fact, man. It is what it is, man. It's money. What makes more money? And honestly, open bodybuilding, that's why they push us to the last in the Olympia, to keep people in the seats. They can say whatever they want.
That's right.
If you had us early, I can guarantee you the seats won't stay packed to the end of the show.
100%. And that's exactly why they stick the bikini girls in between the open and the finals and the pose down and all that crap. Because if you put the bikini girls on first, nobody's going to show up till the open starts. And if you put the bikinis on last, everybody's going to leave. And that's the God's honest truth. I hate to say it, but it's true. And that's why that's why it's like, well, you're going to have to do something to get asses in the seats. That's it. It's just the God's honest truth. If you don't, it is what it is. It's going to stay the same.
I say be grateful. I don't mean to cut you off, because I think before they were leaning towards getting away from women bodybuilding.
Yeah. Until what's his name? What's the guy's name?
Tim Gardner's the one that keeps it going. Tim is really big with keeping female bodybuilding going when they were trying to fade it out, right? So I just think that at the end of the day, women, I think, hey, be grateful, man. You're still able to compete. You're still able to make money. You're still able to have fun and do what you need to do. Don't start complaining because, if the Arnold could start dropping class, be careful complaining, because then that may happen in some other shows.
That's right, ladies. Keep your damn mouth shut. You heard Phil Clayhart.
Yeah, you heard me. I'm going to get it for this, boy.
Yeah, keep your damn mouth shut and be happy with what you would give you. Otherwise, it's back in the kitchen for you guys. Trevor's not laughing because his wife is in the next room listening to every word.
Yeah, she's like, I dare you to laugh. He's quiet as a mouse, boy.
No opinion. I think you guys nailed it. And they got to remember, this is Arnold's show. He had 3 bodybuilding or men's categories and 3 women's categories. It's still equal with the women. Granted, the prize money is who brings the people in the seats, but they still had equal opportunity for women.
The NBA fully subsidizes the WNBA. If it wasn't for the NBA, the WNBA wouldn't exist, and the WNBA nets $0. It's in the red every year. Every year does not make any money, and if it wasn't for the NBA, it would not exist, literally. So it's unfortunate, right? That's just the fucking way it is, man. I don't know what to tell you. It sucks. Life ain't fair, you know? I wish I was in the same category as these three guys and said I'm a dope on a microphone talking about bodybuilding. It's just the fucking way it works, man. That's the way it is. All right, fellas. Trevor, thank you very much for joining us today, man. I appreciate it, brother. We'll definitely have you back. I'll mail out your shirts for you and your wife. Phil, always an honor. Dorian, of course, always an honor. I appreciate you guys. You know, more than you think. All right, we'll be in touch later, fellas.
All right, guys. All right,
Later.
All right.